rotation. These are the third of our transformation. So let's get started. First of all, let's just think about where something would go from one quadrant to the next if we rotated it. And here we can easily see that if we start with our original in quadrant 1, then and go 90 degrees counterclockwise, we'll be in quadrant 2. If we went 90 degrees clockwise, we would be in quadrant 4. If we went 180 degrees, we would be over in quadrant 3. And then just threw 270 degrees in there just so you could see that 270 degrees clockwise is the same as 90 degrees counterclockwise, and 270 degrees counterclockwise is the same as 90 degrees clockwise. So really, if you're asked to rotate 270 degrees, you can just change it to a 90-degree rotation instead of doing three 90-degree rotations in the clockwise direction, for example, for 270 degrees clockwise. You could just do one 90-degree rotation counterclockwise. We will mostly, though, be dealing with 90 and 180-degree clockwise rotations. So let's get started. A 90 degrees clockwise rotation. Here we have the triangle ABC. It is all of its points are in quadrant 1. When we have a figure, all the points don't have to be in the same quadrant. But for simplicity here, we're going to start with this one so we can see what's going on. And when we rotate 90 degrees clockwise, of course, we're going to be moving this figure to quadrant 4. So let's start with point A. We need to look at how far away from the origin, because we're rotating around the origin, how far away from the origin point A is. And we want to count over and up. So here, we see if we go over 2 units and up 1, we're at point A. And we want to think about taking that little bent arrow that we just drew in, and we want to rotate it 90 degrees clockwise. So the curved arrow there shows where we're going with the arrow that goes over and up to A. And now we're going to redraw that arrow. And now that arrow, when we rotate it 90 degrees, is going down 2 units and to the right 1 unit. That is going to be the placement of our new point A, or in this case, A prime. And we're going to repeat this process for B and C. So for B, we're going to go over 1 unit and up 3 units. Now we're going to rotate that 90 degrees clockwise. That makes our point now be down 1 unit and right 3 units. And we're going to mark our new point B, B prime. And now we're going to repeat the process with point C. For point C, we will be going over 5 units and up 3 units. And we're going to rotate that 90 degrees clockwise. So we swing that arrow down. It will be down 5 units and right 3 units. We're going to make our new point C prime. And then we're going to connect our points. Now we have rotated triangle ABC 90 degrees clockwise. And if you notice, the orientation has changed, the quadrant has changed. And so when we rotate around the origin, that's what happens. And let's look at another example. Let's go 90 degrees counterclockwise. We're going to repeat the same process. We're going to start with point A, but here we're in quadrant 3. So if we go counterclockwise, we'll be going backwards to quadrant 4. So let's look at that. We're going to take point A. To go from the origin to point A, I have to go to the left 2 units and then down 4 units, like this. And then we're going to rotate that. So when we, if you see the curved arrow there, it's showing us where 90 degrees counterclockwise would go, like backwards on the hands of the clock. So when we swing that around, it will now be going down 2 units and to the right 4 units. And then we'll plot our new point A prime. We're going to repeat the process with points B and C. So with point B, we will be going over 5 units and down 4 units. The curved arrow indicates how we're going to rotate that. And then we will be going down 5 units and to the right 4 units. And we'll make our point B prime. We're going to repeat that with point C. We're going to go over 3 units and down 2 units. And then we're going to swing that around. And we're going to be going down 3 units and to the right 2 units. then we will and make our point C prime. Then we're going to connect those points, and we have our new rotated triangle. ABC has now been rotated to A prime, B prime, C prime. All right, let's look at another example. We're going to rotate 180 degrees this time. Remember, we don't have to put clockwise or counterclockwise on this. It doesn't really matter. It'll be the same either way. So let's start with point A. To get from the origin to point A, I have to go to the right 5 units and down 1 unit. Then I'm going to rotate 180 degrees. And when I do that, I'm going to swing that arrow all the way around so that it goes to the left 5 units and up 1 unit. 180 degrees completely reverses the directions that we were going there. And now I make my new point A prime. I'm going to repeat the process with B. To get from the origin to B, I would have to go to the right 2 units and down 3 units. And then if I rotate that 180 degrees as the curved arrow indicates, I will be going left 2 units and up 3 units. And there gives me my new point B prime. I'm going to repeat the process with C, which goes to the right 1 unit and down 2 units. And then I'm going to rotate that as the curved arrow indicates. And I will be going to the left 1 unit and up 2 units. And there's my new point C prime. Now I'm going to connect those points. And I have completely rotated triangle ABC 180 degrees. You notice it moved 2 quadrants. It moved from the 4th quadrant to the 2nd quadrant. And it also is now pointing backwards of the way it was before. So we're going to give you some practice problems with those. Use these examples to go through those. Remember, if points start out in 2 different quadrants, you rotate that point from the quadrant that it's in. And no figure that starts in 2 different quadrants will end up in the same quadrant. You just rotate the points for the quadrant that they're in. Good luck.